You're listening to Podcast PXN,
a video game podcast
delivering player experience news.
Let's go! Hail the daughter of hatred! What is up, guys, and welcome to Podcast PXN episode 194. I am one of your hosts, Daniel Prindle, aka Dan is DTM on Twitter, and I am joined over Discord by the Nintendo aficionado and artist extraordinaire, Roshan Warner, at Roro.
Hello, hello. How do you do?
Do well. I do well.
Do well. Very good. Very good.
Someone else is doing well. The host of Large Popcorn and video essayist, Christian Macias, at ISO Christian.
Perhaps this is hell, Daniel. And I'm funny you say video essayist. Keep an eye on Twitter for some incoming stuff.
Oh, it's time.
It's happening.
And the last but not the least, the DMZ Daddy, the Tarkov Teletubby, Gage Dempster, at Gilbo Biggins.
howdy doody, good gentlemen.
Did you miss me?
Duty.
I always miss you.
Reply to me. Reply to me and quit lip reacting in my messages I send you.
So I'm never gonna stop lip reacting to the messages that you send me. And also, okay, I'll take a look.
Wow. All right. Well, we'll also be taking a look at that chat. And thank you to everyone who is watching us live and participating in the chat. Just as a reminder, we are live each and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on youtube.com/@podcastpxn and twitch.tv/podcastpxn as well. The topic of the show this week, guys, is a continued discussion from last week on live service game issues, as well as what happened with Redfall. But first, the show always starts with the quick bites, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Before we get to the quick bites, though, we have some housekeeping.
Oh?
Yes. Join us tomorrow as we will be showing off our reactions to Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest show that he has. I'm sure he's got lots of exciting stuff for us. Yeah. If you're listening to this on audio, you're probably too late. This is going to happen Thursday.
You missed it.
Yeah, Thursday, June 8th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Join us.
Real quick.
Yep.
Just a quick comma here. Just a question here to the chat. I mean, not chat. You, to you guys and chat. Should we get excited for tomorrow? Should we expect some cool stuff at SGF?
No.
Oh, Gage is saying no. I'm expecting some big stuff.
You're doing what I do every time, and I'm actually kind of surprised that I'm able to do it right now, because normally the day before is when I fold. You gotta stop, man. It's not good for you. You know it's not good for you.
Here's the thing. The showcase disappointed.
Right.
It's in everyone else's court.
This time it'll be different, right?
This time it'll be different.
Don't do it, man.
Don't do it. Insanity.
I want you to expect nothing but like a couple cool indies.
You're so right.
And then when Kojima walks on stage and has Death Stranding 3 cinematic trailer for some reason available to show with everyone, then you can get really excited.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Well, if you're not excited for that show, make sure you also join us Sunday for the Xbox Game Showcase reactions, plus the Starfield Direct. Hopefully, we've got some good shit there. Please.
Unfortunately, that show is going to be like over 2 hours long.
It'll be 2 hours. Yeah.
It's a little bit long. It's a little bit long. Oh well.
That's
Should be fun.
Come on, Christian. Join us. The
You're right.
Game Awards was like 4 hours one year. I mean, come on.
That's
too long.
Those were dark
I
times.
agree.
Those were dark times.
Yeah. All right. Moving into the quick bites, guys. The Meta Quest 3 is official. It is coming this fall for $499.99. Some details here from Okami Games on Twitter. He's a Okami13_ if you're curious. It is 40% slimmer than the Quest 2, has over 2 times the processing power, has new fully colored pass-through cameras. So I think the current cameras were all black and white, I believe. Higher resolution, improved haptics, fully backwards compatible, And he didn't list it here, but I'm pretty sure the controllers are redesigned similar to the new Quest Pro or whatever the hell that is. So yeah, some quality of life improvements for the Quest.
A little parenthetical is that the Quest 2 also got a permanent price drop now, I think. Back down to $299, I think.
Yeah.
Which is the price it was before it. Yeah. That's so funny. It's a price drop. Shut up. Shut up.
They had to increase it just to... Here we go.
Just to decrease, yeah. Optics, baby.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of optics, we've got a game that's filled with optics as you're playing it in VR. Assassin's Creed Nexus VR has been re-revealed, and Ubisoft says to expect a full reveal at the Ubisoft Forward event on June 12th. This is the, first foot towards their onslaught of Assassin's Creed at this event.
That's Monday, yeah? Monday's the 12th?
Yep.
Yeah, Peru.
I don't know if I'm going to tune in live to the Ubisoft Forward. I think I'll catch the highlights.
Yeah.
For me personally, they haven't earned that in a few years. Like that's definitely one of those shows that is the highlights for sure.
Yeah.
Indeed. Moving on though, and going off.
Wait, I spoke too soon.
Oh.
I gotta see this.
Oh,
Jake,
Christian has not seen this. Continuing on with Ubisoft Forward, we can also expect to see Avatar Frontiers of Pandora gameplay coming to the Ubisoft Forward event as well. And viewers watching on Twitch will be eligible to earn Twitch drop rewards for multiple games by watching on the official channel or any number of co-streaming partners. There's a full list of games and rewards. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, you get the Slumbering Icon Navi weapon trinket. Riders Republic, you get a base camp duffel. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you get the Eugene Raven skin. Assassin's Creed Mirage, you get the Oasis Initiate of Alamut die. So there you go.
okay, it got better as the list went on, but we started off with the trinket.
Sure, yeah.
Fucking weapon charms and trinkets and all this nonsense.
I got 5 words for you that I'm sure Gage will agree with. You ready?
Mm.
Let's get it done then.
Hell yeah, I knew
Let's
it.
get it done.
I knew
then.
you were saying. Oh man,
Let's go.
I know you
Great
guys
one.
like the movie, and I'm sure it was a masterpiece and all that kind of stuff. But are you guys really going to play an Avatar video game
fuck
like
no.
that? I was going to say,
No.
what if it's
I
good? What
might.
if it does look?
Are you
What
kidding?
what if it looks good, like Christian? Like, would you play it or?
Here's okay,
I
wait.
think I'm with you where I'm like I'm not expecting it to be good, but if it does look like I don't know, what would you want from an Avatar game from Ubisoft? What would they have to do to sell you? Because I feel like it's a hard
There
sell.
is no world where I think I'd play it, honestly, is my
That's
honest take.
interesting.
I don't need something like that.
What
Let me think about this. Gage, you answer, like, honestly.
I just want to pose this question to people because absolutely it could be bad. Ubisoft has a hit and miss track record, like more miss than hits as of late. But there hasn't been a game yet that the team working with Snowdrop Engine has made that hasn't been good. Division 1 was a good game that needed some work. Division 2, by all accounts, did really well critically. Didn't sell huge, but did pretty well. Especially in the very small scope of like live service games. You have Destiny, which just dominates the market. But then, I mean, Division 2 is still making live content, and for a company as like tight with their money and like that kills things off as easily as Ubisoft does, for them to keep making content, obviously it's doing okay. The leaked footage of the new, the crew that runs on Snowdrop looks awesome. So my only thing here that I treat Avatar differently is because it's Snowdrop Engine. Everything that Ubisoft's released on Snowdrop so far has been a cut above the rest.
My thing is that there's like a growing trend of making games that are just like absolutely massive that they want you to sink a lot of time into, and a lot of the times they can be partly uninspired. And when they're adapting what I think is a franchise, like the movies are cool, right? But I enjoy them because of James Cameron's filmmaking to that level. I'm not interested in like expanding the universe of Pandora per se. So like there's no interest for me on that front. Were it like a single player like linear story game, there maybe could have been something to pull me in that way, but I'm already getting that from the movies. So then, because I know it's single player, like maybe if in the world where if it was like an MMO type, like Game Pass game, or like my buddies and I can fly around, maybe I would consider checking it out that way, Ro, to answer your question honestly, I guess.
I feel like I want to see it, but I don't think even if I saw it, like I don't know if I'm interested in playing it. It's one of those games where I'm just curious, just
Sure.
curious about it. Yeah.
Maybe it looks like Gollum.
Oh, one could only hope to live up to those high standards, you know.
It's interesting because your logic as to why you're not excited about it, Christian, is kind of why I am. Because I agree with you. Ubisoft makes really dull and just kind of we'll make the world really big, and that'll be the marketing point. But they're dull and like they look okay, like and all that stuff. But like I feel like because they are adapting Pandora and a lot of that heavy lifting is already done for them. And again, looking at the engine and how it looks like those games. I mean, the Division 1 came out in what 2014. It looks better than Ghost Recon Breakpoint today. Like, and it's not even close. So I'm like, okay, so all the creative heavy lifting of designing this beautiful sort of world is already done for them. It's kind of like the Bloober and Silent Hill argument, where a lot of people think that it might be okay because they're by far their weakest point is like writing and story. But like sometimes they do cool gameplay mechanics. It's the same kind of thing. So I'm curious. I have an open mind for Avatar. Fingers crossed.
James
But then not
Cameron.
the
James Cameron cancels Avatar 3 and 4 and just makes it into Ubisoft's game.
Why do
I
you
would
say
quit
the things that you
life.
do?
Yeah. Before you move on, Dan, I have Gage mentioned the Division. I have something to say. Everybody prepare. Remember the Division 1 announcement gameplay trailer?
Oh, don't do this
That was
to
so
me.
cool. That was so
Don't do
good.
this to me. Game, wherever
So
it is in the ether, whatever multiverse has that game, that original Division premise, I'm jealous. I want to be there.
So cool.
Controlling
That was Tarkov before Tarkov, or Tarkov might have
Yeah.
launched around the same time, but that is what they were going for. And oh man, I wonder if they were swayed away because it wasn't popular yet. They would have been groundbreaking. They would have been first to the scene. Man, why would you bring that up?
That's actually New York right now.
Damn.
sad but true.
Got him. Climate change, baby. Got him.
I don't have a good segue into the next thing. I was trying to think of something really quick and couldn't. Here we go.
Speaking of luscious new worlds,
Yeah. Xbox Showcase has gotten some details here by way of Aaron Greenberg. So Benji Sales kind of wrapped it up here on Twitter. So some of the stuff here, none of the first party games being shown will be only CG trailers, according to Aaron Greenberg. All the first party games will include in-game or in-engine footage. Also, the show is not the next 12 months like last year was, which of course we knew, or now we know that everything that was in last year's showcase didn't actually come out in 12 months as they planned.
not a good look.
Yeah. And then they also said it's going to be roughly 2 hours long, including the Starfield Direct. So hour and a half for the main show, half an hour for Starfield Direct. So boom.
I am silly. I thought the Xbox Showcase was 2 hours, and then it's the Starfield Direct. My
Dan thought so
apologies.
too.
Okay. I did initially, yeah, until I
understand.
Yep.
I gotta say, when this broke last week, I was like, or what? I guess June 4th. When was that? Late last week? The weekend? What a power move. Considering like the disappointing showcase from Sony, where like the bulk of it from first party was a lot of CG trailers that mainly told us not a lot. So to see this, I was like, okay, I'm kind of excited.
Yeah,
could be cool.
Indeed. Something else that's cool, somewhat cool. Career rank is unveiled for Halo Infinite, coming with Season 4. 343 officially announced it and showed off all the career ranks. Of course, taking a military ranking system approach like previous games have in the past with their progression system. So looks very cool in terms of all the aesthetics. You do unlock rewards that include nameplates and emblems, but there is no, or I'm sorry, emblems. I'm reading two different places here. Emblems are basically nameplates in this game. But anyways, so you unlock emblems for some tiers of this progression system. I think as me and Gage talked about, we would have liked to seen some more stuff, like in terms of like maybe some customization stuff like armor or shaders. But this is a welcome step at least to get a progression system with full military ranks. I know a lot of people have been clamoring for this specifically for a long time. So glad to finally get it in there.
At the very least, because this is a permanent account sort of progression and not going to be reset with like live service nonsense.
Right.
It also does open the door to like retroactively add that stuff later if they do. If hopefully season 4, I don't think so, but like say season 5 or season 6, if there is a thing that kind of brings Halo Infinite back up and it kind of has a what do you call it? Rainbow Six Siege sort of moment.
Resurgence.
And then it gets, they start putting more effort into it. They get more team and more resources. Then, I think they probably could add that stuff retroactively. But yeah, a little bit disappointing, but at least we have a career account sort of progression system so you can grind your way up. Because that was the biggest thing in Reach, right? That was the one thing I loved, is that there was no prestige. So it's like, once you got to the ridiculous titles of name, it's like, okay, well, you earn that title because you've not left the basement for 3 years. That's cool. I mean, in a way.
Indeed. We'll see who can get up to the hero rank. Probably not Gage.
I'm not a hero. Believe me, I am not a hero.
Neither is Hobie Brown.
I don't know who that is.
The hero you deserve, but not the one you need right now.
Ro got that reference. Thank you, Ro.
I got that reference. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Some negative news here. Microsoft is paying $20 million in fines for improperly collecting and holding kids' information without proper parental consent. Regrettably, we did not meet customer expectations, Microsoft says. However, between 2015 and 2020, Microsoft was found to have retained information on children in instances where the parent did not complete the creation process and therefore did not consent to data collection. So yeah, no bueno. Don't be
interesting.
Yeah, don't be taking.
Well, it could have been a lot worse. 20 million is not a lot to Microsoft.
Right. Yeah.
Also, my big thing is like, and this is a bigger issue than just this specific instance, but where does this money go, by the way? Because I have a feeling this doesn't go to the people impacted by this at all. No, this just goes to another government agency that's like, we've found wrongdoing, so we get our reward now.
Wrongdoing.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna catch that one.
Wow. No words for that. Western Digital has officially released finally their Xbox expansion cards, and they are here to compete with Seagate's cards. Finally, we have now 2 manufacturers that makes these stupid little cards, and this is great news because the minute that Western Digital announced these cards, Seagate lowered their prices to match these prices. So obviously,
that's good.
Yes, obviously competition makes a huge difference. So hopefully we can keep getting some more competition in there and keep lowering the price of these guys.
And then, not Seagate, Western Digital. They introduced the 4 terabyte official SSD for the PS5. So if you're looking to upgrade it with like an official partnership, I guess, and you want like a large, I think the highest beforehand was 2, double that, get 4 terabytes.
How much does that bad boy cost?
I'm glad you asked. Let's find out. Let's get the link.
That is, because I'm sure it's probably less. Sadly,
oh my God,
how much is it?
Oh no! Before you say it's probably less than the 2 terabyte Xbox card before they lowered the prices. But go ahead.
How much was that? How much was the? You just said it, but
I believe it was $450.
No, this is more.
Oh, it is more. Okay, never mind.
How much is this?
American $550.
Whew.
So more than the console.
Now that's a raw doing.
Yeah. Nice.
I think it's time to just upgrade to fiber and just re-download your games at that
Hey,
point.
not everywhere has fiber, Daniel. Okay,
I know.
and not every
Hey,
house, apartments
blame your
in a city.
local government for that, because our local government made a
Look.
deal with the cable providers to get fiber all over.
All I'll say is this. All I'll say is this. The infrastructure in America sucks.
Correct.
Agreed.
Let's restart. Let's do it all over again.
Redo.
I think we should.
Let's reboot
Hell.
life.
Let's reboot.
Oh, hell yeah. Ellie De La Cruz, first home run. Congratulations. Sorry. I just got
Well
a
done.
Sports Center notification. Sorry.
Congrats, Ellie.
It's a
I'm glad
it's a
we all
big
have
deal.
something.
It's a big deal
Yeah.
for the Reds. I'm excited. Okay. Anyway. Back to games. EA is closing in on a deal for Star Wars: The Old Republic. And what do you mean by that, Dan?
What do you mean by that?
A third party studio is going to allow BioWare to focus on Mass Effect and Dragon Age going forward as they pass the
Whoa.
book to Broadsword Online to continue working on the Old Republic that has been in development for forever, it feels like, at this point. So very cool that I guess BioWare can focus on
Focus.
yeah. single player.
I'm with
Good
you.
idea.
Good luck to you, Broadsword.
And good luck to
You want-
Nintendo, because they just announced a new game that we talked about a few months ago, and they weren't sure what to do with it, but here it is. Everybody 1-2 Switch is coming to the Nintendo Switch on June 30th. How about that cover image, Ro?
Wow. Yeah, I don't know what to say. They didn't know what to say either. They just wrote one sentence and said pre-order it. No trailer.
Pre-order
nothing.
it now.
Yeah.
Last
It's
time
like
we
an-
talked about it was with the news where like the developers of the game like hated it.
Mm.
Yeah, and the
Remember
people
that
who
article?
tested it hated it too. Like
Yeah.
the kids and the adults are like, everyone who played it was like, "This is terrible. Please
This is
fix
not
it or don't
fun."
release it." They're releasing it.
And they're
I
releasing
doubt
it,
they
yeah.
fixed it too. I doubt they fixed it as well. They're just releasing it how it was. Which, it's going to be fun to see what this game is for sure.
I gotta say, I was a 1-2 Switch guy. I didn't own it, but my friends owned it, and we'd get together and you know have beers and play, and it was pretty fun. I have no hopes for
got-
this.
Yeah, me neither. It was cool to see, like, there was, I always bring it up, but the ball in the Joy-Con thing where you could literally feel
Ice
that was
cubes,
cool.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, those kind of games were cool, but it wasn't like anything mind blowing. So I'm interested to see what kind of new games they may have with this one.
Well, remember you could like milk something. Remember?
Yeah,
like,
milk the
milking was one of them.
cow. Yeah,
Or was that the old 1-2 Switch?
No, I think that's the one that you think the first one had that in it.
Oh,
I'm
then I'm
pretty sure.
stupid. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. There's some other Nintendo news, by the way. I'm not sure if you added it, but with Nintendo Europe is closing the eShop in Russia in like protest for the Ukrainian stuff right now. So Nintendo Europe made an announcement yesterday, which was 6 days ago, that users living in Russia will no longer be able to make purchases or redeem digital codes on the eShop, and their credit card information and PayPal details will be deleted for security purposes. So, yeah, just that was a interesting tidbit to add to the Nintendo stuff.
Awful that that's still going on.
Yeah.
This next story item, Christian, I feel like you would do it much more justice than what I would do. So why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, Kojima Productions today announced and shared a look at its newest documentary, if you want to call it that, called Hideo Kojima Connecting Worlds. It's a look at the behind the scenes of the making of Death Stranding. It's out today. I believe it's up on YouTube. I called it "quote unquote" a documentary because it seems more like just like a behind the scenes thing, you know. But still, pretty cool.
Very cool. Moving on to our last quick bite. GameStop has canceled first quarter earnings call and fired its CEO. GameStop discloses their first quarter 2023 results. Net sales were $1.237 billion for the period compared to $1.378 billion for the prior year's first quarter. Net loss was $50.5 million for the period compared to a net loss of $157 million. So we're not losing as much money now. That's good. That's good, GameStop. But
Tears
yeah.
of the Kingdom brought people in.
Oh yeah.
No, I don't know.
Again, I mean, could be. But yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with GameStop and its CEO. Man.
I think they already hired a new one. Well, I mean, they're the interim.
Oh. Ryan Cohen is now the executive chairman of the company. Stock tumbles in after-hours trading. Like, a lot. I'm looking at this chart, and it's, like, straight down. Not good. Not good. All right. Moving into street meets. The first street meet here, I believe Gage sent this to me. Payday 3's possible release date been published online here. September 21st, 2023, and we may get a look at it tomorrow. It sounds like possibly a Jeff Keighley thing.
Sure. I've never played a Payday game, but I almost did once. That's all I have to say.
It's a fun concept that didn't quite get to where it needed to be, I think.
Yeah.
But obviously it did okay enough because that game was also supported like out the wazoo. So I
This
understand.
time I wasn't Gage.
Oh, Ro froze.
He probably heard the word wazoo and was like, that's enough. I can't do that. And I don't blame him at all.
Nice.
Yes.
Neato.
Dan, if you need, let me know if you need me to do something. I can do something to help.
Kirk says, "Oh, they're having a sale. Time to buy some stock."
Don't buy stock.
Yeah, don't. Wait, what the heck? How
Are
am
cameras in place? Oh,
What is happening?
Who am I now?
I was in two places from my camera. I'm like, how did that happen? I've never seen that happen. I was so confused. Okay.
you're so cute when you're confused.
I was like, what the hell's going on? I'm here, and I also see myself below me. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? My mind's tripped out. All right.
Hey, this is a family-friendly show, dude. You can't cuss.
Oh, whoops.
Sorry, Brenty.
That's
If you're listening.
Well, no, the funny thing you say that is I told Sean that on episode 1, and I was the first one to cuss about 5 minutes in. So, yeah, I don't think it...
Well, Christian's
Nice.
also the most feral being on this podcast, so there's also that.
That's true. I won't deny those allegations.
All right, our second street meet item, as Ro has joined us back after he
Nothing happened.
mysteriously
Nothing.
disappeared.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you've been
I was
here.
here the entire time.
Yeah. We've got to look at the Starfield custom controller and wireless headset, which has not been announced yet. But this design actually looks pretty cool. I mean, it lines up with the design of the actual game, so the design definitely matches very well. Probably not my cup of tea in terms of all the colors and red and gray.
All right. We get a cool looking digital,
It's
like,
cool.
you know, all those like wires. You have like the see-through triggers that look badass. And Dan's
Yes.
like, nah, get this out of my
No,
face.
I like the see-through triggers, but
Nice.
the color scheme, like the red and the gray and the white, like you guys know I hate the PS5 design. That's freaking just no, yeah. But Gage, I think's all in for the headset, maybe.
I think both look good.
Oh, okay, all right.
I think both look really good. Yeah, it's got like a NASA look to it.
Yes, it does. I like all the little like indicators of like, you know, power up, like the thumbsticks say power up with like throttles or whatever. That looks really cool.
Right.
Very cool detail.
Yeah, I think like you and I were talking about it. I think it's like a little missed opportunity. They could have done the right trigger red and the left trigger blue because that's what NASA does in all their suits. They all have the identifiers for right and left. That would have been cool. But yeah, no, I think this is this looks really good, and I might pick one of these up because I have a controller hoarding problem.
I have the opposite. I still have one controller.
Wow.
I respect that.
Granted, Xbox has better controllers than PlayStation in terms of their like custom stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Moving to our last street meet item, Summer Game Fest rumors that I think Christian added in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went through and just started. That's basically what people were thinking, speculating on for tomorrow's Summer Games Fest. People are speculating that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to get a special look tomorrow because of the way that their FF7's Twitter has been posting, like, just randomly, like one piece about the game, like per day, like answering questions. People are assuming it's going to lead up into a new trailer, a new look at it tomorrow at Summer Games Fest. And also, there's I think the Xbox account seemingly teased Fable with a Twitter video of like what glitter on the ground that was leading up to like a TV or something.
Yeah, I think we talked about that last week, but yes, the glitter.
Oh, did we?
Yes, but yeah, the glitter everywhere is definitely Fable.
Yeah. It's also Pride Month.
Yep, it is.
Did we mention that before?
No, we did not.
Yeah,
did not.
No, we did not.
Now we know.
Now we know.
Now they know. We know.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah.
I really hope Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is there tomorrow. That'd be great.
What about Final Fantasy VII Afterbirth? Where is that? What's the last one called? What's the last one called again? Sorry.
Oh,
We don't
I
know yet.
Oh.
I don't know if they gave it a name yet. Afterbirth.
The
would be
part,
kinda
yeah.
cool. Resurrection. Who knows?
Knowing how stupid this
That was a
numbering. Sorry.
What?
How stupid this numbering sequence is. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth 2.
It's not okay. That's actually
be
not
nice.
out of the. That's not out of the realm of possibility, though. That's the insane part. You said that, and I was like, "That sounds like a yeah. That sounds like a title."
Pretty sure they've done that before.
Yeah, 13, right? 13-2.
Yeah.
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 But that makes sense because you can't do 14 because it's a different Final Fantasy game.
Oh my!
didn't know
That
that
makes
yet.
If it's a sequel to
sense, he
13,
says.
it's 13 too. Yeah,
It
it's
makes-
super. It is not hard.
Okay.
Phil Spencer says the same thing about Xbox Series S and X.
That is literally
That's
the same
actually
thing.
confusing.
No, that's literally the same thing. You can't have your cake and eat it too. That is the exact same thing.
Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X 2.
Oh, they've done it twice.
Oh.
Mhm.
Really? I forgot about 10.
Insane.
I think it sounds cool. I'm down with it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. You know what I'm down with? The PXN news of the week. Guys, I put one item in here because we still got a lot more to talk about anyway, so here we go. Square Enix is reportedly worried about Final Fantasy 16 pre-order numbers. So writing as part of a Patreon post, journalist Imran Khan teased a little insight into what he's been hearing behind the scenes. I had heard recently that Square Enix is panicking slightly over Final Fantasy 16 pre-order numbers, which are tracking behind Final Fantasy 15, even accounting for the lesser number of launching platforms. He wrote before stressing that pre-orders are only an indication of guaranteed day one sales, and the actual number could blow everyone away. So obviously these are all pre-release numbers, don't necessarily mean anything. Even with it being on less platforms, like I get what he's saying, like that it's being factored in, but still, like that is a substantial market that it's not coming to. So obviously, the numbers are gonna look worse because, like, if that platform was there, maybe they have another 500,000 pre-orders or something, and say, "All right, we're looking fine. We've got this many." But I don't know.
But, like for me, like Square Enix always has like just already insane expectations for all their games, like from 10 years ago. Damn, it hurts to say 10 years ago. But it feels like a non-issue. I think you can see like the growing trend of a lot of games releasing day one with terrible performance issues. Like even like I guess the most recent example dating back to is like Gotham Knights. So I think there's been just like growing hesitation for a lot of people to like pre-order before we actually know. But when your game is previewing this well and like you have YouTube videos that are like people are highly anticipating it, I would err on the side of Imran being like, yeah, it's probably like it. All it is a guarantee of like day one sales. It probably like will like when it actually releases, I'm sure it'll be just fine.
Agreed. I think they also have. I don't think it's that big of a deal. The M rating, which I feel like gamers are like past that Like it's not the same as
God of
movies.
War is massive.
Yeah, it's not the same as how people view movies, so I don't think that's a big deal. And they've made it even more accessible to, it seems, more openly accessible to the Western audience than it has ever been before, with like the Game of Thrones references and the type of combat that it is, not being turn-based. Asian markets always love their Final Fantasies, but I think this one's going to be pretty big, like all over. So yeah, I'm with Christian. I think when the time comes, I think they'll be pleasantly surprised by how many people are picking this up.
In 2 weeks?
2 weeks. Goddamn.
Which is funny too, because Square's the one that said that Tomb Raider had to sell an absolute absurd amount of copies for it to be successful, and it's like that's not attainable at all. I think that was the first game, right? The reboot, and they're like, oh yeah, it's gonna sell 10 million or something absurd, and it's like, okay, chill out. It's the first game of a reboot. Ugh.
Squeenix.
I was going to ask this question, but I don't feel like it's as relevant now after we had this discussion.
Ask me.
Okay.
Oh, wait, it's right there.
Yeah.
I can read it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you have to say it. It's a podcast.
Yeah. So I had originally written this here, and I'm still uncertain as to whether Square thinks this is a major issue, because it's one thing if we don't think it's a major issue, but if Square thinks it's a major issue, then that may be a different question. Because like when they're making these decisions to make, their games multi-platform or make exclusivity deals or whatever, I just found it interesting to ask the question, are exclusive games that are coming from third-party publishers a good idea for them? Like, are they not factoring in that deal that they made with Sony? Like, certainly Sony's giving them some kind of compensation for it to be exclusive. So like, do you not factor that into your pre-order numbers being down? Like, oh, we got this, $5 million check from Sony or whatever it was. Obviously, I'm just making numbers up, but I don't know.
This is a hard one to think about, because you're already you're thinning the market by releasing only on one platform, to the PS5. And it's a PS5 only game, right? Like we're in that territory now where it's like just new gen consoles. So you're already like thinning it out further. I'd imagine, they would have to keep expectations in check to some regard. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about Square Enix. You're thinking more broadly. Are exclusive games good for third-party publishers?
Yeah.
I would say it like. Are
Probably
the
case by case, I guess. Sorry, good.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, are Assassin's Creed games considered third-party games?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
I would feel like that would be a bad idea if they just did like Xbox or PlayStation or something like that. But like for Square Enix and Capcom and just those developers that just, I guess, have a specific relationship with these platforms, I guess gamers just maybe expect those games to be exclusive in the first place. So they like, Square Enix is going to be on PlayStation. And like, there's a lot of games that I feel that way, like Bethesda. Right. I feel like, now they're bought by Xbox and now they literally are exclusive. But even before the purchase of them, I just associate them with PlayStation, even though I think they were everywhere to my knowledge. But I think it's case by case. I agree. I think Square Enix is going to be fine, but I feel like other people may want to not be exclusive. Might not be a good idea for the type of game that they are.
Yeah, I think like for a studio or for a third-party publisher, it depends. Like if you're being pressured into a exclusivity, then obviously that's not great. But like there are certain situations where if you have a project that you believe in, but the financials aren't adding up, or you don't have the resources to complete it, like sometimes a third party, I just thought you did. A third party, an exclusivity deal is what you need to actually get your product finished. And in those cases, it's one of those things where it's like, well, honestly, I think pound for pound, if every game came to every platform, that would probably be best for most people, including even if Sony or Xbox owns companies like even if they were releasing their games on other platforms, I still feel like this is a net benefit to everyone. And just from an optics standpoint and where we are, like it's never going to happen because exclusive console manufacturers just believe that they need exclusive games. And maybe they do. We don't know what the alternative looks like, but in my mind, like it does kind of seem like if every game came everywhere, that would be better. But in today's world, like there are certain circumstances where if you're an independent studio, or even if you're a big third-party one, and certain projects just aren't leveling up, or you're getting pressured from, like, say, the C-suite people to sort of cancel a game, then like maybe that exclusivity deal is what keeps that project afloat. And then if it hits and it becomes a success, then you're able to, at least if that wasn't part of the deal, bring that franchise forward to other things. So in some cases, it can be the meaning between life and death for a franchise. So it's definitely hit or miss.
I just saw the Blessing show yesterday, I guess, on video game announcements, and yeah, there was an indie dev talking about how like a big part of announcing a game is pretty much just like hoping you get funding by the announcement and that someone picks you up, and you know that's how the game is essentially finished, is through exclusivity deals.
Indeed, it's so fascinating. Like Ro was saying, like the gamers like associate certain publishers to a certain manufacturer, like, you know, like you were saying, Square Enix very much PlayStation, Bethesda very much Xbox. And like you almost wonder if, you know, Square Enix were to publish multi-platform, most people that are buying those games would probably continue to buy on PlayStation because they just assume that it's a PlayStation game at that point. Like it's very much like when Microsoft had the marketing agreement with Call of Duty, most people bought Call of Duty on Xbox at that time. Now the marketing partnership has been with PlayStation for the last 10 years now, so most people buy Call of Duty on PlayStation now, even though it's a multi-platform game. So it's like it is very fascinating, like seeing the two sides. But I agree with what you're saying there, Gage, about independent developers. Obviously, the smaller developers and publishers probably would rely on that a lot more than, you know, the Ubisofts or Activisions or Squares of the world.
For sure.
Okay. Let's move in to the fantasy draft check-in. Guys, somehow we all got on the same wavelength this week. Gage only had one game left to possibly even pick up, and he chose this week to do it perfectly timed.
Holy shit!
Yes, we all four have picked up a game this week, and let's go through it right now. The first one we have here, Halo Infinite, will eventually be 343's Halo 3. Daniel picked up Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because I believe winter means this December, and it's coming this year. We're going to see it tomorrow. Boom.
Damn.
It's coming.
Your biggest case you've got for you is that when they said that Crisis Core was coming this winter and that Rebirth was next, Crisis Core hit in December before the year ended. So
heck yeah.
We'll see.
Then we've got the Lockharts, which is, of course, Ro's team. And he has picked up a game that I have no fucking clue what it is, but
it's Dawdoin. I'm pretty sure is how it's pronounced.
Dawdoin. Okay.
Yeah.
What is this game? Enlighten us.
It is a indie game by, I believe, a French developer, because I'm pretty sure Dawdoin is a France like river or something. But it's like this really beautifully illustrated narrative game. It looks like a children's book. It's like watercolor, and it's just insane how this is how you look at this and you say like, oh, that's a really nice illustration. But then it's like, no, you could actually move around in that environment, and the story is being told through these like it's just a beautiful looking game. So yeah, single player, wholesome, nature, adventure. Those are the tags that are on Steam here. But it just looks really beautiful. So I imagine that the indie folks are going to really, really dig this one.
And that's next week. We'll see if it gets enough reviews,
wow.
bro.
That's the scary part. If enough people are going to play it, I feel like it's gotten enough traction that at least it'll get the score on there. But fingers crossed.
All right. Christian's Saliva Gang PDX has acquired.
I forgot.
You forgot? Oh,
I did.
You have acquired Ghost Runner 2.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, never in doubt. Never in doubt.
It should be pretty.
Okay,
good.
I'm gonna be honest. Okay. A little behind the scenes baseball, whatever what's the metaphor? What's the phrase?
Behind the curtain, I guess, or
In the
inside
dugout?
baseball.
oh,
Yes,
okay.
there we go.
I'm inside baseball. When I found out that Mortal Kombat was not 12 and it was instead Mortal Kombat 1, I was like, hell yes, because Daniel had picked Mortal Kombat 12 early in the year, and I was like, it's a different game. You know what I mean?
No.
Like surely Mortal Kombat 1 is like going to be a different SKU on there, so I'm going to pick that up before and then sure enough, like later that day, it updated from 12 to 1. And I was like, all right, that's some BS.
As it should. And then we have Gage Dempster's final game that he could ever pick up because he spent all of his money. He has acquired something that Christian will be upset about if it comes out this year. Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree.
It will come out this year. I believe it.
Well, then you're upset because you don't get it.
You're upset. Just admit that you're upset.
Okay, I don't fully believe it, but yeah. Were Armored Core to actually release earlier in the year, like we assumed, then yeah, I think Shadow of the Erd Tree would have dropped late this year, but I don't think that's the case anymore, with August as Armored Core's date.
Yeah.
Not fully convinced. Who knows, though?
I bet you they want to get it out to keep the momentum up, but I think you're right. I don't know.
So the
We'll see.
question is, I almost said, Christian, are you going to counterpick it then if you don't think it's coming this year?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
On principle alone, I don't think he can.
Yeah. All right.
I know I'm dumb, but come on. I can't do it.
Moving into what you got for me, Daniel, what have you got for me? I have Diablo 4, and I've been playing a bunch of it with Gage, and it is a lot of fun. This game's doing very well critically, and a lot of people are loving it. Gameplay is really fun. Pretty much, I don't know if I've made it past where I made it in the beta. I don't think I have, in fact. But like the great thing about this game is like Gage was probably getting annoyed about this, but maybe not because he's kind of in the same wavelength as me when it comes to this. But every little exclamation point, like little blue exclamation point, which is a side quest that I see on the map, I always have to go to them and see what the hell they've got. And I'm like, yeah, give me another quest. I need like 72 quests in my inventory. But literally, we're walking around the map and I'm like, all right, I see an exclamation point. I know we're on a mission, but I need to go there. And actually, all these side quests are a lot of like fun stuff. Like, it's not just like, hey, will you go there and do this for me? It's like, there's actually a lot of meaningful content there, which I very much enjoyed. And yeah, the gameplay is really good. Continuing from the beta, it visually looks very good. 60 FPS, runs fluid. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. Just barely getting my feet wet thus far, but having a lot of fun. Christian?
I have a Diablo comment that leads into a quick bite that we forgot to mention.
Oh, unless,
did you see?
Unless it's in the topic of the show. I don't know what you're about to say. Okay.
Did you see that Whoopi Goldberg today made a video about how mad she is that Diablo 4 is not on Mac?
That's awesome.
yeah. She really wants to play Diablo 4, but it's not on Mac, and that's what she has. So,
well, she could use
That is
Apple's new tool that they have. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It ports Windows games to Mac, and it actually does a pretty decent job.
help her out then.
Yeah,
Hit her up, Whoopi. Yeah.
I ain't doing it. She can help herself.
Oh.
Whoa.
She's a celebrity.
Daniel hates women.
She has more money.
Confirmed.
She has more money than I could ever imagine. I think she could find somebody to help her out. Yeah.
The quick bite was. Oh, go ahead, Gage.
Nothing.
I wanted to hear his joke.
It's okay. More importantly, though, you reading that made my heart really happy. That's Whoopi Goldberg logging in to fucking slay demons all day. There's something about that that's just fucking rad.
Awesome, dude. Yeah. The quick bite was, speaking of Mac, Death Stranding is coming to Mac, and apparently all KGP is working on upcoming games also coming to Mac, which is kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, here we are.
Very interesting. All right, Ro, what you got for me?
Still playing Tears of the Kingdom, having the time of my life, just exploring Hyrule above and below. So cool. I'm finding like armor that could help me explore better as well. It's just so much that I still am discovering. There's this lady who wants me to find water wells, so I'm going around finding wells for some reason.
Oh yeah,
But,
and if you talk to her, she tells you like how many you have left.
yeah. I don't know
Yeah.
what she wants with these wells, but I'm looking for her. I will do it. I'm sure there's like a very terrible reward by the end of this, but I'm still doing it. But yeah, I'm having a good time just exploring, doing the side quests. I did a really fun one the other day. I won't spoil it, but I was pleased by the end of it. But yeah, it's a good time.
A little TOTK anecdote that I saw online is that somebody got a letter from their landlord being like, "Hey, can you please stop playing porn so loudly in the middle of the night?" And we had some complaints last night, and he wasn't playing porn. He was talking to the Great Fairy at the fountain and getting his clothes upgraded because
Dude.
talk to women in Zelda. They're like, "Ah."
I don't know what I mean. They're talking to Link, so I get it. But at the same time, it's like, why is this how you sound? Like sometimes it's not even the great fairy. Sometimes just talking to this random NPC, and she's like, like what? I just wanted some rupees. That's all.
Mm-hmm. I bet you did.
I got the rupees one way or another.
Link gets them all hot and heavy.
He does.
Uh-oh.
Everybody's flirting with Link in this.
Everybody is flirting with Link. Yeah.
Yeah.
There goes Gage.
Fuck. Perfect timing for him to talk about. Oh, it's not even his turn. Christian.
Yeah.
What you got?
More Destiny 2 Season of the Deep. I don't know. Just kind of. I'm back. This is the Destiny cycle where like, oh, it's so much fun being in it, and then you're like, this fucking game sucks, dude. Like, I got so incredibly mad at it yesterday, disgustingly mad that I was like, when we finished doing the dungeon, we're like, yeah, we're not grinding anything else. We're just done for the day. It was like so disappointing. The loot grind and the way like the bosses are built in that dungeon just was not fun. Not engaging. And I was like, I'm gonna bounce for a while, and then every night gotta end it with some more Tears of the Kingdom. I'm kissing 60 hours in that game. Finally completed my second big thing in that game, and I have no plans to rush through the rest. I'm planning on it being a 100+ hour experience. When Final Fantasy comes out, if I'm not done with Tears of the Kingdom, then I'm not buying Final. Maybe Square should be worried because I'm not buying Final Fantasy yet until I finish Tears.
Dude. I finished Tears and I'm still like, I don't know if I want to play Final Fantasy yet. I'm still having a blast just doing random shit in this game. Yeah,
that's what's up.
I'm with you.
And here I am. I bought Diablo 4, which is about a 7 million hour game. And yeah.
Oh boy. Square is like, you know what? We didn't calculate this correctly. But you are a healthy Destiny player, Christian, because when Destiny players get angry, most of the time they just keep playing.
They just keep playing,
just forget their other games, and they just continue getting angry at the game, and then they get toxic, and then vicious cycle.
That's so me. I'm kidding.
No, you took a break, which is good. Thank God.
Indeed. Gage, what you got for me? You are muted, my son.
I definitely am. Good, because I definitely fumbled my words there. I've been playing Diablo as well, Daniel, with you. We've been slaying demons and kicking in doors and just having a grand old time. And it's I think you touched on it, but one of the biggest things is that this game actually works at launch. Who would have thought? This game works.
We're sure about that.
Yes, there are no widespread. Of course, all people are always going to have issues. There are no widespread issues. There's no like game-breaking bugs. Everything works fine. It's great. It's so refreshing. It's a good time, man. That gameplay loop is addictive. I'd never played a Diablo before. You got me to try the Diablo 4 beta. I don't know why. I thought I just totally wrote these games off as some sort of like point-and-click adventure, Magic the Gathering nonsense. And I'm like, oh. this is like what Destiny is. Destiny is doing a Diablo thing. That's pretty much what this is. That's cool. So I'm digging it. I like it a lot. Having a good time.
We are playing on Xbox Series X, Kirik. Yes,
We are.
chat. So
I did play both of the betas on PC and did not. I had some issues with the first beta. Second beta ran pretty good, and like I said, there's no widespread issues. So I'm imagining if you're planning on playing it on PC, that it should be fine.
I'm gonna admit something. Were it not for Zelda or Final Fantasy coming out, I think I would have been playing Diablo with you lads.
wow,
Good time, man.
it is good.
Yeah.
I also really respect the art style, and like you were saying, so okay, just another thing. It does absolutely drive me insane, Daniel, when we're playing and you stop for every fucking side quest. It drives me insane at the beginning, but then when we're halfway through the side quest, I'm always like, yeah, this is pretty cool. So it's a 2-point system there, where it's like absolutely it drives me insane having all these little exclamation points all around, because I'd rather just skip that and
Yeah.
for the most part either grind dungeons, do world events, or do the main quest. But every time you pull us away, I get angry, and then halfway through the quest, I'm like, okay, this is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
So side quest design is actually really cool, and the art style. Art style is they nailed it. This game is gorgeous, not only from a graphical fidelity standpoint, but also just from this sort of gothic atmosphere that just like weighs on everything, which normally I'm not into. I'm not into the sort of gothic stuff, but really, really gorgeous game. Good time.
And that's a return to Diablo 2 for them, because 3 was a bit of a different art style. So a lot of people have been happy about that. So, all right. Moving into the topic of the show, guys. What went wrong with Redfall? We got a big look. Why could I view this on my phone, but now it's telling me...
I couldn't view it either.
What? I'm kidding you not. I was able to pull up the full article on my phone, and
Just claim the offer, you know. It's only $1.99 a month.
I couldn't read it either, and I was hoping you had the notes.
yeah, I'm kind of irritated because you asked, or I think I put in the chat. I was like, yeah, the whole article is not behind a paywall, because I was looking at the whole thing on my phone, and then okay, well that's annoying. Anywho, Jason Schreier from Bloomberg reported on what the hell happened at gosh, now I'm all screwed up because that just threw me off that was locked. From Redfall, what happened there? So to sum it up, I guess I was gonna pull some stuff from his article, so that's really upsetting, but Tom Warren says Bloomberg's Jason Schreier has a great overview of Redfall and how it all went wrong. Microsoft took a hands-off approach, while some staff at Arcane hoped that Microsoft might cancel Redfall, or better yet, let them reboot it as a single-player game. So it sounds like... Sorry, Christian, where were you?
I think I saw a tweet as well that Arcane Austin, I think, did Redfall, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And they were also the ones that did Prey and Prey Mooncrash.
Correct. Yes.
Yep.
What I learned is that most of the developers that made Prey and Prey Mooncrash had left, and so a lot of that core team was gone, and it was not that same team making Redfall.
Well, if I read the article correctly, it seems like a lot of them left because of this. From what I was reading, is that they were becoming more and more unhappy with the direction of this game, and apparently it was greenlit around the same time in the same sort of mindset as Fallout 76. So those developers being kind of forced to work on this project, they just started leaving en masse.
Redfall, more like Red Flag.
Yeah. And it is interesting because Tom Warren points out specifically that Microsoft took a hands-off approach, basically just saying, all right, we trust you guys just make whatever you guys feel, I guess, and didn't want to, I guess, interrupt that process. Ryan McCaffrey, which I respect many of his opinions, he tweeted out, heck of a report by Jason Schreier. I wonder if, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, of course, Podcast Unlocked, Microsoft didn't cancel Redfall after the Bethesda acquisition because they wanted to err on the side of being too hands off rather than being too hands on, which I could totally see that perspective of them not wanting to interfere too much. Although at a certain point, I guess I feel like they should have known that. Although I say that, but Phil said that their early reviews were like double digits higher than what the game ended up getting, which is crazy.
The mock reviews?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Some part of this process is not working right.
Right.
That's pretty much where we're at. Well, and like we talk about with other things too, optics. Like usually optics get in the way of making an actual good or an actual bad decision.
Yeah.
And this totally makes sense. If you are high up on Xbox, you're buying one of the biggest third-party publishers in the Western space, at least. I would argue globally, but in the Western space for sure. You're buying one of them, and probably that somebody somewhere probably already had an inkling about the Activision thing coming up, right? Because these massive things are planned out. So if you bought Bethesda and started canceling projects, and then you knew in a year, 2 years, that you're going to start trying to convince people that you are right to take on Activision, people are obviously going to be worried about what you're going to do there. So, yeah, I could totally see that being the reason. But again, that kind of gets in the way
What's
of
the alternative, though.
That just.
Yeah.
That just reminded me of something as well that I read that apparently ZeniMax, who's the overarching body that controlled Bethesda before Microsoft purchased everything, ZeniMax was apparently putting pressure on Bethesda's internal studios to start making live service games to make themselves more attractive to be purchased by someone, which Microsoft ended up purchasing them. So it does seem like ZeniMax specifically was putting pressure on their teams to try to put this type of content out like that in Fallout 76, I guess.
See what I mean about the state of the industry? Where like we're chasing, it's a race to the bottom with no winners.
Yeah.
Like look at this. And then like I look at Sony, like 60% of the budget going to live service games, and we had like the conversation from last week, like consumer is hurt, the company itself is hurt now. Kind of a shame.
It is. And what's super infuriating about this case specifically is that this just inauthentically justified that sort of mindset, because Xbox absolutely did not buy Bethesda for Fallout 76 or for live service. They've had a really tight-knit relationship going all the way back to the original Xbox. That's totally not it, but the fact that it happened to just line up that way with these sort of C-suite officials saying we need a live service game so we can get bought, and then they launch a live service game. They have Elder Scrolls Online coming, and they're working on Redfall, and then they do get bought. I feel like that just accidentally reinforced that mindset to other sort of big publishers that think like that, because this is nothing new. I mean, and this is the problem, right? Where you have, it all comes back to games being an art form, but also like one of the biggest business industries is that you have these suits dictating how art should be, and that usually comes at the compromise of the art itself. So it's super unfortunate. And I was actually thinking about this, and I think that like there's no real way to enforce this, because people are people and they can do what they want. But I think about more and more that aside from the consumer voting with their wallet, which is true for any industry, for any product, it is ultimately up to us. I think the next line of responsibility is a lot of these creatives that work their way up into C-suite positions. I think like a lot of these people that are veteran of the industry, they need to try and like fight for authentic stories in video games and trying things that are new and risk taking and all this stuff. Like, not to say this has happened yet, but I think of people like Neil Druckmann, who started off as a creative, a visionary, and now are slowly but surely working their way into the C-suite positions that ultimately make the decisions of what gets made and what studios work on. Like a lot of these people, I think we need to put like a little bit of pressure on it. Like, hey, you need to fight for like not making The Last of Us 4 a live service with battle pass seasons and all this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Interesting. Redfall, what went wrong? Everything. Including Jason Schreier's article that we can't read.
If you
I'll-
like sorry.
Oh,
I
you
just-
can
I-
refresh.
Yeah, if you like refresh it enough, I think it's gone now. But when I tried refreshing it a few times, it said this article has been gifted to you by a Bloomberg subscriber, and you could go through it.
Oh,
So you might have to
Open
try
in
it
Firefox.
a couple of times.
Hmm.
It might work, but now I don't have it. I shouldn't have closed it. God damn it.
Man,
But yeah, just if you want to try a few more times.
that's why media
sorry,
literacy
Christian,
is down. They paywall all these articles. Can't even read the damn thing.
yeah.
I think I cut Christian off though.
Who knows what I was saying? Probably just angry at something. Like what a precarious position that Microsoft like ultimately ended up with Redfall. Because Gage was like talking about, yeah, like you like being too hands-on would have, you know, and the game releasing poorly would have risked making them look pretty bad with like future endeavors. But like the opposite end, which is what, you know, came out to be true, is that because they were too hands-off, the game released poorly. And were it not for Hi-Fi Rush, like this being the first prestige, I guess, exclusive game from Microsoft Studios, like it was like one of the worst. Were it not for Gollum, I guess it'd be the worst reviewed game of the year, which is like just as shitty of a position to be in as a publisher.
Indeed. I
Yeah.
think that that's just gonna have to round out our conversation there because I tried 12 different browsers and tried refreshing. Didn't work. So
Redfall, what went wrong?
everything.
Yeah, everything.
All right. So moving into the next piece of our live service game discussion, Diablo 4. So of course we talked about Diablo 4 a little bit ago about how well it's doing. And Diablo 4 is officially the fastest selling Blizzard game of all time, which is insane. Like, think about all the games that Blizzard's released over the years. That's kind of wild to think about. But yeah, that's good news. But just to talk about a little bit of the live service woes of Diablo 4, one of them being the store. I know there's a lot of people that are frustrated about the price of items in the store, which there's people out there that are giving fair points, which the base game gives you a lot of customization content. There's a lot of stuff to unlock. The transmog system's great. Gage, I know you're a huge fan of that. So they are doing a lot of things right. I do think it's a valid criticism, though, to take a look at their shop prices, which some of these items are like $25 for a set of armor, which is a little absurd. But I guess again, that's one of those things with live services. Like they're trying to get that profit wherever they can, and yeah, take advantage of that.
Yeah, I'll bring up what I said with Halo Infinite back when it launched, just because this applied, and at the time it was true then. Like this applies to other things, but it's true that video games are, you know, more expensive than ever to make. That's just kind of the way that technology kind of works. That's just the law of the universe. As things get more complicated, they just become harder to make. But there's literally no indication that, like, it's not proportionate, I don't think, right? Like you want to say that your live service game that requires constant maintenance and constant updates, and you're making new content for it, you need a revenue stream. Like, okay, that makes sense. But where do you get to the point that, you know, one skin and 2 weapon skins equals a third of the game's price? As opposed to, like, so let's say in Halo Infinite, like when we had this conversation, I was like, what if an armor shader was $5 instead of 20, and then the next thing down from it, the weapon skin, the vehicle skin, was $2.50 instead of $10. And then what if the singular pieces and emblems were $1 instead of $5? You know what I mean? Like I don't buy into the 1-to-1 that they like to pass it off as. Is like, oh, video games are more expensive, so buy all these $20 bundles. It's like, well, I'm surely these could be $5, and then more people would probably buy them, and then it'd probably still work out all the same. So I still see this stuff as like just apparent greed, but that's probably just the cynicist in me, I guess. I don't know.
It reminds me of Call of Duty stores and how absurdly priced their stuff is. It's kind of ridiculous.
It's
Or
everything.
little while, you're right. A little while ago, I remember there was like a certain blueprint that you could achieve a certain way in Call of Duty. I don't know if it was like for doing some game mode or a challenge or what it was, but it was like kind of like an exclusive thing. If you had it, like it was kind of like you get to show it off, and then 3 months later they decided just to throw it into the shop, and now you're buying that blueprint for like $20. It's like, all right,
Right.
Are there other ways to get the currency in this game or the armors? Like
No.
I mean, the store ones. The ones in the store, no. Oh, well, that sucks. I mean, you don't have to buy it, and it doesn't affect the game in any way. It's just like the armor. I understand it being greedy because it is a lot of money, but I feel like that might be their logic. Is like it doesn't affect
For
the
sure.
game at all.
It
Don't
doesn't,
buy
it
it if you think
doesn't,
it's
man.
too much.
It's like when you boot up Fortnite and you see all these skins and
Right.
dances that everyone's doing, and it's like, man, like look at all
I
these
wish I
cool
could do
people.
that.
Like, yeah, exactly.
To like
Try getting that FOMO.
the simplest comparison I can make, it's dramatic, and I'm sure there's a more nuanced example that would be better, but it's kind of like the whole argument where it's like something can be morally wrong but legally right, where it's like absolutely like this doesn't affect gameplay, but it absolutely is kind of like they're using like the human psych, like it's FOMO, right? Like it's preying on people's FOMO. It's the same as everything else. But now what's interesting with this conversation specifically is that with most things, I believe like context matters, and like there's usually you gotta read between the lines a little bit. With Diablo 3, they're on like season 28. So there are certain games that I think, again, you don't just pick at will. Like I'm somebody who operates off of like reputation and like what's your history and like what they've kind of shown that they will support their games. So for Diablo specifically, this isn't as egregious to me. And I think that's why, even though there are complaints, this isn't like blowing up the newsfeed of everyone in the gaming space, because I think that while some people look at this, and again, like most games going live service and having these microtransactions as a whole is kind of like, we'd rather we just earn the content of the game. But the reason that this isn't blowing up everywhere, I think, is because I think some people realize like, okay, well, of all the franchises that are doing this, I mean, Diablo has a proven track record of like sticking by their games and making tons of content for them. Like I said, Diablo 3 season 28 or 27 or whatever they're on. Like for me, when I look at that, I'm like, okay, it is only cosmetic. It is egregiously priced, but I'm paying into something that's not going to have a sequel next year and it's all going to be for nothing. So this is kind of a gray area situation in terms of this conversation, where this specific game, I'm like, it doesn't bother me as much because I know that this game is at least going to get another 3-4 years of support, if not more.
Fair. Christian, you added the second part, which I did forget about. I saw that as well. I forgot everything this week, apparently. The first player in Diablo 4 to reach hardcore level 100 has seen their character perma-die after 82 hours of play, with their game being disconnected from the server. Apparently, because a player could potentially deliberately disconnect when their health is low to avoid dying, the game treats a disconnect as a death. As such, when Karn rebooted the game, he found his hardcore level 100 barbarian character, which he had been playing for 82 hours, had died. And of course, that could be another concern of a live service environment where you have to be online to play. Yeah, that's situations like that definitely sucks.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I include that in with the problem with always online. Not to say like that it's like a widespread issue, but it is definitely a concern, especially when you have it's a new game and you are doing the hardcore mode, and when you have like a race to get your name put on the Statue of Lilith, these concerns are definitely valid about always online connectivity.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest too. If that happens to me, and I mean, even if I'm only 20 hours in, that will definitely deter me from wanting to play, because like I already only have so much time to play it, that if I get all of my progress wiped out because of that, like, oh, sorry.
You're not playing hardcore mode,
I'm not.
are you?
I'm not. You're right.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a permadeath mode. I chose not to do that. Yes, you're right. Never mind. I'm dumb.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I think that's still a valid criticism though, and I think what I would be curious about, and I mean, obviously it'd be hard to find the actual truth. But I'd be curious, is there any evidence to suggest that like a live service game has to be always online? Is there not some sort of element where you could have, like, even if you have to connect online to sort of get the most out of the game, it's like, are we sure that like this always online future has to happen? Because I feel like, again, I'm not a software engineer, I don't know how servers and character accounts and all that stuff works, but like I feel like in theory it doesn't necessarily have to be that way, but maybe it's just easier to do that because, like, again, this is a specific situation, a specific symptom of the problem, but we've seen news stories all the time whenever there's an always online game and servers are down the first week of launch, or co-op doesn't work, or all this stuff, right? And people who maybe who actually buy these games a la carte, which still happens a lot, maybe not for us, but I mean, people are kind of losing out on what they spent money on. So
yeah, but they already spent money on it. So
they did.
Crap.
That's true.
He's played 82 hours of it. He lost his character, but Blizzard still got that $70. So
yep,
not a real issue for them.
And to be fair for this guy, he hit 100, so he's getting his name on the statue. So it sucks. It does really suck. I'm not going to say it doesn't, but at the same time, like, he's good in that sense.
Yeah. It'd be nice if there was like a fail-safe, or like being able to recognize that he didn't cheat. You just like got disconnected. Feels like an easy fix, you know? Like, oh, you disconnected this way, not this way, so therefore you get to keep that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I'm also not a game developer.
Absolutely.
I feel like a good way to, like, did he disconnect in combat, or did he disconnect while sitting in the main? You know what I mean? Like, that would be if you could have some sort of binary value. It's like, okay, was he in the middle of combat and disconnected? In which case, sorry, you're SOL. Whereas if he was sitting there and he's making breakfast and then the internet craps out, but it's like, okay, we saw that you're in the safe area of the hometown. You're probably not trying to. What would be the benefit?
Yeah.
What if they do something crazy, like if he was in the middle of battle and had like half health or something, they force him the next time he comes online, they put his half health character in the middle of like a massive amount of enemies that he has to fight his way out.
You know what's funny? That sounded ridiculous, but I was like, oh, yeah, some sort of save state system. That's actually not. I would there'd be no way, I think, to actually make that happen. But when I think of like people who rage quit to get out of losing, that would be an awesome punishment. It's like one of those games where it's like I think GTA did this around launch, where it's like if you were cheating, they put you in cheater only lobbies and they put a stupid thing on your head that you couldn't take off. I love that kind of stuff. So if they were able to work out, like, say, let's go pipe dream now, where it's like a Call of Duty lobby, or somebody rage quits. The next time you boot up the game, it puts you into like an in progress lobby that's like with like people that have MMR way higher than you. That'd be awesome. I love that type of stuff.
That's funny. Close it out here. Let's go into the Destiny model. So obviously Bungie has had some of its own successes with the live service model, but you know, obviously that's not without its own issues. And of course, Christian, you were talking about some of those issues a little bit ago. So, like the dungeons.
Yeah, so, you know, the newest dungeon just came out in Season 20 with Season of the Deep. And there's been some gripes online about the way Bungie models their, like, newest seasons. There has been some allusions by Paul Tassi in his replies to an article that he wrote on Forbes about these dungeons, being like, yeah, the game is seasonal, but it feels like more like a subscription model if you're not buying the season pass. Like they're kind of paywalling you with like transactions to access the full suite of the season. And in these I call it dungeon grabs. So this article is like, it's actually a praise for the newest dungeon for most of the way, except for the way they approach pricing, which is like, if you're not buying this, you're having to pay a lot of money a la carte just to keep up with the current season. Yeah, and in addition to that, I'll throw in this as well, is that now with Diablo out today, the Destiny 2 team put out a survey on Twitter, pretty much asking players how they're feeling about the current like loot system and build crafting, etc. Because, you know, some people were saying like, why are you guys comparing Diablo and Destiny? They're different games. However, they're both kind of MMOs, you know, gear-based kind of games. And Diablo is getting high praise for the way it tackles its, like, you know, the way it approaches the loot, getting it, leveling it up, and then transmogging, et cetera, where, like, for the longest time, the Destiny model of gear and weapons has kind of stayed the same. I mean, it's changed, but it still feels far from perfect. And when you have a game like Diablo coming out, it's like this feels so good, and you feel rewarded for getting different kind of loot. Where in Destiny, you're like mostly just dismantling it left and right, trying to get the god roll. You know, these questions arise of like, is there a better way to approach this kind of like, I would call it a gotcha system? You know, the grind of playing a live service game, like being in it, right? And you know, those questions arise then of like, you know, Bungie with The Last of Us, and like, you know, with Naughty Dog wanting to venture into live service, and when you have like a lot of gripes happening with Bungie all the time, it's like, yes, we understand that Bungie is like fantastic in making these experiences. I love Bungie games, but also we question the way they approach their design at the same time.
Well, when Destiny was kind of first unveiled, they kind of touted that Destiny didn't have a subscription price, but you're totally right, Christian. I mean, they're getting that subscription price in their seasonality of content now, with how much they're charging for that, as well as, you know, the silver for all the cosmetic stuff and everything else in between. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they essentially are getting a subscription through that.
Raising, I mean, I understand the price increase in season, like so yeah, sorry. It used to be 1,000 silver was the price of a season. They raised it to 1,200, but the problem with that, I think I mentioned this last week as well, is that the way you buy these online are in increments. So you have to buy the $15 version, which is 1,500 silver, to then it used to be just $10, so now you're spending $15 on the game, and it's these little kind of things like, oh, we getting squeezing a bit more money out of you. And, you know, we get it. Like, these games live and die off the whales, so to speak, of people who are dumping money on this. But it's like, come on, at some point it feels a little bit gross.
Bro, you're gonna keep dumping into Destiny all that money, you know?
I don't know. I want to get back to Destiny for sure. I think that next time might be the next big expansion, and it may be because of what Christian was talking about with how they are increasing the prices and the amount of stuff that you're getting in the season. I really enjoyed Lightfall too. I enjoyed aspects of Lightfall, and I enjoyed the season that came with it. But right now, I think I'm just taking a break from it, and I hope, like with this survey that they're doing, I think Bungie does a great job with talking to their community and taking feedback into account and implementing it in ways that is beneficial for the game, and not going too crazy with with player feedback and just doing everything that they wanted, because that wouldn't be a good game either. So there's a little give and take between them and the community, and I think they do a good job with that. So I'm hoping by the time Final Shape comes out, they take into this survey into account and they improve loot. Crafting has been a very like hit or miss thing with the community. I think it's in a pretty not great place right now. So yeah, I'm hoping that they get it to a better spot by the time I'm ready to come back, because I think they're very talented over there. But yeah, they're doing some weird stuff for sure. That has kind of pushed me away for the time being.
Yeah, build crafting is kind of annoying in Destiny right now.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like RNG based, and like it's very tough to like build stuff like with the red boxes. It's like, you can see the mountain of grind in front of you. It's like, do I want to be doing that?
Yeah.
Funny, Christian.
I want to be having fun instead with Diablo 4 and friends.
Christian was recruiting all of us to play Destiny just a few weeks ago, and then I got a text the other day from pretty much my only friend that lives around here, and he's like, "Hey, you want to play Destiny again?" And I'm like, "What the fuck's going on here?" Like,
what? Everybody's played Destiny.
Yeah.
Something about it, you know.
I mean, I love the gameplay. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, that's sort of, yeah, you know, all the crap I talk about Bungie, like they do make some satisfying gameplay loops.
Yeah.
You know.
They know how to find the fun.
That's true.
So, if I understand this correctly, it sounds like people's biggest gripes with Destiny all happens around the business side of things? Question mark?
Could be.
There's a pattern here, surely.
Money.
You're so right. You're so right, dude.
The last thing to point out here, Gage sent this. shortly before the show. Shout out to Battlefield here for a cool new thing they're doing. Battlefield 2042 is implementing a community calendar where you can check the upcoming featured experiences for All Out Warfare and Battlefield Portal, as well as the next double XP events. So a very cool way to keep an open line of communication with people for a live service type of game. Obviously, Battlefield's not fully in that realm, but this is a cool feature to give people hope on what to look forward to. Christian, what's funny?
I'll tell you here in a second.
Okay.
I gotta say, I feel really bad for Battlefield the way this game just like hasn't really hit, and it's tried to come back, and sometimes it's clawed its way to be fun again, but still it's kind of not all the way back to what Battlefield used to be. I think back to when this game launched pretty poorly, and like I don't know, a month after they're like, we're working on the next Battlefield. It's like, oh, well, you gotta prove that this one that just came out is still good. You know what I mean? But they're trying. But I feel really bad. I laughed at an AI thing. I looked at the replies, and it was like one of those bots, like roast Tim Jim. And so the bot responds, it's Payday smoking a cigarette, and the bot reads, "Wow, a calendar. What's next? A napkin to wipe away all the tears from the bugs and glitches in the game." Damn.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exactly what I was laughing at too. I was like, it just looks like the frog's famous or something, like quoted by Roast Tim Jim.
Right. This is great. I wanted to quote tweet this, but there was no way of me wording it where it didn't sound like kind of snotty. But like, I think this is, I especially like this being a working adult, because I would like to know in advance when the double XP weekends are and when there's an event or when you're gonna add. Right, it just kind of makes things a little bit easier where it's like, cool, I can kind of be like, hey, let's get the lads together on this day. If we can only game one weekend this month, might as well make it this weekend, right? So if we are gonna stay in this live service dystopia that we find ourselves in, let's at least show us in advance when we're gonna get fucked, and then we can kind of plan around it.
God damn.
Yeah.
And by the way,
And
we should.
and to your other point, in terms of feeling bad for them, the game launched in a really weak state. The game, after all of its 5 seasons, has less content than base Battlefield 4. So I do feel somewhat bad, but again, I don't know. I'm waiting to see. Battlefield 5 had a similar thing where by the end of its life cycle, it seemed great, but we're getting to the point where you need to show that you're actually listening to the community for the new game. Because if the new game comes out and it's the same thing over again, then it's like, okay, what are we doing here? Right?
The three-peat of Bad Company 2 to Battlefield 3 to Battlefield 4 was fun. Very fun for me.
They were firing on all cylinders, but they were doing Battlefield things, right? As soon as they started trying to do what Call of Duty's doing to, again, artificially bump numbers, well, now you're not thinking about what's best for the game. Now you're thinking about numbers, and here we go again. So if this next game launches and they don't have classes again, it's like, okay, that was one of the biggest things that the community pushed against. Yeah. So I'm just waiting to see, right? Because I'm still weary. So
no classes, no scoreboard.
No scoreboard, no VoIP, no voice chat. So if this next one launches and it's in a similar state, I'm gonna be not as empathetic because it's right there.
Roast him, Jim.
Roast him, Jim.
Oh my god! Can you imagine if they do that again though? Like how would they manage to do that again?
Do
like, yeah.
This is coming from EA, who famously said, "We're not sure why Battlefield Bad Company is special." They had no idea.
Oh yeah.
It's like, what do you mean?
Insane language.
Yeah.
I just remember This is how we end the show with my little anecdote on Bad Company 2.
Yeah,
okay, I'll tell you.
What is it?
I remember I used to be really scared of horror movies, and I got invited to go see one of the Paranormal Activity movies, and I debated with my friends all day long while we were playing Bad Company whether or not I should actually go see it that night or not, because I was really scared. I ended up going, and the ending was really scary, but
But it was down to the wire the entire day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like I relate to that so much.
I did that with Candy. I did that. Like, should I watch this?
I did that with Candyman, and guess what? I didn't end up going seeing it because I was terrified.
Smart.
Incredible. Look at us.
I
Look
want
at
to see.
that.
I want to see Ro see some scary movie.
Bro, the last horror movie that I saw in theaters was, I want to say, Escape Room, and that wasn't scary at all. That was barely a horror movie.
Seems pretty bad.
Yeah, and if I'm not saying it's scary, then
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what else? It's as badass as the people that are joining us live on YouTube and Twitch, as well as podcast services everywhere, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else you get your podcasts. Thank you, Roshan. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Gage. I am Daniel, and this has been Podcast PXN, and we are out. Much love, and keep on gaming.
See ya.
Breathe safely.